Welcome to the Volkmar vlog episode 3. So let's get right into it. Today's update is basically just showing you the progress so far. I want to just have a quick look at the models that I've painted up. I managed to paint a squad of 10 last gun infantrymen and talk a little bit about the painting scheme and my thoughts about it and the future progress of this army. The reason this episode has been delayed a little bit is basically that I have had to figure out the best way to do this. I've had some issues with trying to do it kind of live, showing them on the table, turning them around and stuff, and keeping models in focus while doing that. I just couldn't really get it to work. So instead of taking some stills, and let's just jump into the slides. So here, hello. So as you can see, there should be a slideshow now running in the background. And really what it is, and I have to press play. Really what it is just 10 guys with last guns. And the scheme, as you can see, that I've chosen is just a basic dark gray khaki pants setup. So all of the paints are Army Painter paints because they're cheap and I like the effect. Now I know they're a bit on rough and ready. They do look better in person, I feel, because as you know, these pictures are zoomed in quite a bit. In real life, the models are quite a bit smaller, so all of the little mistakes and stuff don't show as much. But I'm fairly happy with the result. I think that it will get better with time as I get more used to the color scheme and stuff like that, but really I don't want to put too much effort into it, considering that I have to paint quite a lot of these guys. Now, as I was saying, all Army Painter paints, it's a base coat of uniform gray. I like uniform gray because it's kind of neutral. On top of the unicorn gray, then all the gray bits are then painted necromancer cloak. All the white parts are painted with mummy robes. All the leather parts are painted with leather brown. The stock is painted with oak brown, so the stock of the gun. It's difficult to see really on these pictures, but there is like a stock part where they cradle the gun, right? Because that is wood, I've painted it in a slightly different color. Actually, and you cannot really see it on these pictures, some of them have some stick grenades, those old German type grenades, and the handles of those are oak brown as well. All the bronze or tubing gold highlighted things were painted weapon bronze initially. And then everything was given a coat of strong tone from Army Painter as well. The reason is it is really, really fast to work with. So basically, once that had dried, that takes quite a while, everything was then washed. For all of the darker parts, it was given a wash of dark tone. Dark tone is essentially Army Painter's version of Null Oil, right? It is very dark, it's black. So all of the dark parts were given that. All of the lighter parts were given a light tone. Soft tone. And once all of that was done, now it was like the model was super dark. I was a bit afraid. It did not look good, and that is one part of working with washes and with especially this quick shade, is that it does look a bit scary until you get close to the end. Now, once I'd done that, I started highlighting, and basically I took all the same colors and I just added a little bit of white, and then I highlighted all the areas with the same colors except the metal parts, right? So I forgot to mention all the metal parts are what's it called? Plate mail? No, gunmetal. And those parts were highlighted with shining silver. The weapon bronze parts were highlighted with greedy gold. And that was basically it. Model done, really. Nothing else to that. Then I did all the basing. The basing is, just a sort of flock and stuff. Now I wanted to just dwell on one thing. So there you go. This model here, for example, right? You can see that there's some, I like to call it barbed wire. I know it's not exactly barbed wire, but it's a fairly close approximation. What it actually is a wire that you use to make coils from vape thingies. What do they call vape machines? But it's basically this coil here, and you're not gonna be able to see it on camera, but they come in like little strings like that. And I'm sure if you go to any kind of online or in-person vape store, you'll be able to find some coil that looks pretty cool. I found this one. I thought it was perfect for the use. Was very happy with the result as well. So really, very quick basing, and then once all the basing was done, painted it a little bit, right? I just gave it a bit of varnish. Now I used the anti-shine varnish, which is a matte varnish from Army Painter. The reason I do that is that when you use the quick shade, your model will be super glossy. It will look terrible until you actually varnish it. And then all of the details kind of spring to life. It's actually quite a funny process, and especially when you highlight it on top of the quick shade, you're thinking to yourself, this is gonna be horrible. But actually, when you get to it, it gets really nice once you put the varnish on. What it also does, and one of the things that I'm very happy with putting hard coats on all my models, really, even if I haven't done this process, is that it actually helps the basing stick on quite well. So normally when you put this sort of basing on, and especially if you, like me, use this kind of like, we call it school glue, but this hobby glue or whatever, if you use that, it doesn't stick forever. It doesn't really settle down as you would want it to. The hard coat really, really helps that. So big recommend, whenever you paint something, hard coat it. I prefer matte varnish. Some people like the gloss. I just think it looks super plasticky. The good thing about the gloss, of course, is that it adds some extra protection, right? But I just don't like how it looks. And that is another thing, right? It protects your models when you carry them around or move them around, or if you, like me, are a little bit clumsy, butterfingers and all, it really does help quite a bit. So do always put varnish on your models. Can't stress that enough. Now, the next update is going to be a bit delayed. I'm printing, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but my Photon S is currently printing some D&D models for my brother. He needs 7 characters for a group he's running, and I told him I would be happy to print and paint them for him. So I'll include how that goes in the next video. So that's going to put a little bit of delay on the army, right? I still need to print, like, at the bare minimum, I need 3 squads of infantrymen. Even if I'm going to run a lot of veterans and scions and all that kind of stuff, I need at least 3 squads of infantrymen. You want to always run around 100 infantry in a guard army. So 30 of those minimum will be standard infantry. So a guardsman squad. And for that, considering that you have to print basically an extra squad per squad just in special weapons to have all the options available to you, you're looking at printing something like 40, 50, 60 models for that. And then on top of that, you need all the heavy weapons, right? So just getting those 30 guys up and running will take time. I'm fine with that. It's part of the project. I enjoy painting and I enjoy the whole printing process and learning about 3D printing. I did have some fail prints. I am not quite sure why, really. One of the things I ended up doing on the advice of the great internet was that I actually sanded down my build plate a little bit. Something to do with the standard adhesion on the build plate of the Photon S. Not really, it's too uniform, right? So the resin doesn't really stick to it. So at first I tried upping the amount of bottom layers and the exposure time, and really all I got from that was that I ended up upping the exposure time on the bottom layer so much that it got stuck on the plate, and I broke a spatula getting it off. So instead I sanded the surface, and so far that looks like it's working pretty well. Very carefully, by the way. So I used corn 150, right? So quite a thin sandpaper, and then with no violence whatsoever, just on top, just to get the surface down a little bit. The results, I think, so far seemed good. I had some issues with the leveling, and I'm just gonna bring, I think, the phone to the printer. So I'm gonna pause, and I'm gonna bring the camera over so you can see the printer. I had to kind of build a little table for it. The thing is, I built this table here from scrap wood, and therefore it is very uneven. So I ended up actually buying some little feet from furniture feet and screwing them on a plate so that I could adjust it so it's actually level, and that seems to have helped quite a bit. So allow me just to pause, and I'll bring you there. See you in a bit. Okay, so here we are, and we can go to just the phone. Just the phone, and as you can see here, I'm just gonna adjust a little bit. As you can see here, I've put in these little legs here to help, and there's actually 5 legs, one in the middle and one on each side, to help kind of stabilize. So there's a mouse mat here just to give it a softer surface, and then all of these legs are adjustable. So I've basically gone with and made sure that everything was level, and just made sure that the build itself is level, because one of the things I found was that the plate or the resin inside the vat had a tendency to run out in one side while still having resin in the other side because it wasn't level, and I actually lost one of the prints because of that. So now this is all level. I've re-leveled the build plate as well, and so far this test print here, which is a dwarf warrior for my brother, seems to be going quite well. We will see. It was not supported, and I'll put a resource in. It's a spreadsheet that I found that contains links to all of the different possible models that you could imagine in Dungeons and Dragons. So really great resource, most of them free. And I'm just gonna turn this around 2 seconds. Again, so as I was saying, I'm just going to post that for you guys. Take a look. It's a really great resource. Now, I don't know how long it will take to print these models. It depends on me doing all of the supports myself and doing them correctly. I am not a master of that yet. It is really, really tricky. Now, so I hope it will all turn out great. But in the meantime, I really do hope that that you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again in a week's time or so. As I was saying, I will see you guys in a week or so. I'm sorry for that, my mic just cut out for some mysterious reason. But I'll see you guys in a bit. Have a great day. And that was a terrible ending. Bye.